They never tell you that your soul has weather patterns, that just like the earth, you cycle through sunlight and shadow, calm and storm. And yet, somewhere within you, even during the deepest spiritual drought, there still exists a seed, dormant perhaps, but indestructible, waiting to bloom at the first touch of light. This is not a light you find in the sky, but one you kindle within. And once you remember where to strike the flint, you'll realize raising your vibration isn't about escaping the darkness. It's about igniting a glow so fierce it transforms it. In today's journey, we're diving into something deceptively simple yet cosmically profound. How to raise your vibration fast, especially when your inner world feels like it's collapsing into a black hole. Stay with me until the end of this video, because by the time we arrive at the closing horizon, you'll carry with you not only a practical flame, but also a sacred map. One encoded with universal truths you may have forgotten but never truly lost. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel now. This space is more than a screen. It's a threshold. You're not just watching a video. You're stepping into a temple of remembrance. There's a strange paradox in the human experience. We seek to feel better, but we forget we're not here to chase a permanent high. We're here to transmute. Emotions, those sacred alchemical messengers, are not roadblocks to our vibration. They are the very fuel. Like a symphony that must begin in silence before the first note strikes, your low moments are not a failure of your frequency. They are the prelude to your power. And what is vibration, really? We throw the word around like spiritual confetti, but underneath the glitter lies a truth so ancient, it speaks in frequencies older than words. Vibration is not simply emotion, it's not just energy. It is the pulse of your alignment, the rhythm of your soul remembering its cosmic inheritance. When you raise your vibration, you're not escaping your problems, you're syncing with the divine signal buried beneath them. It's as if the universe is a great radio tower, and when you tune into the right wavelength, reality itself reshapes around your presence. But here's the caveat, and the blessing. This signal is strongest when you're weakest. That's the secret no one tells you. It's easy to feel high when life is easy, but to rise when you are broken, that is true ascension. That's where the miracle lives. Think of yourself as a lighthouse sitting in the middle of an emotional storm. The sea around you rages, the sky is dark, the waves pound relentlessly. But if you can switch on your inner beam, even just a flicker, the whole ocean responds. Not instantly, but undeniably. This is the mystical hinge. Your light need not eliminate the storm to change the course of the ship. Even the smallest raise in your frequency can redirect the trajectory of your life. Why does this matter so much now? Because the planet itself is undergoing a vibrational quickening. Time feels stranger, more compressed. Emotions feel heavier, reactions swifter, and the illusion of separation between self and soul, between now and eternity, is dissolving. People are waking up confused, raw, overwhelmed. In that chaos, the temptation is to numb, to flee, to spiral downward. But you, if you're watching this, you're not here to spiral. You're here to rise, and to do so swiftly, like a phoenix that doesn't wait for the ash to settle before it takes flight. There's no room anymore for slow, safe, theoretical healing. The world demands instant soul recalibration. And while that may sound impossible, here's the mystery. When you remember who you are, your frequency doesn't climb a ladder. It explodes upward. You don't ascend in steps, you realign in seconds. But this isn't about faking positivity. This isn't about bypassing your sadness with empty affirmations or slapping a smile over your pain. Raising your vibration truly and rapidly means becoming so honest with your soul that even your grief becomes sacred ground. It means finding the divine in the wreckage, seeing the gold thread woven through the darkest fabric of your experience. You are a multi-dimensional being. Your vibration isn't bound to your current circumstance, it's bound to your awareness of your origin. And when you remember that origin, When you call upon the true self beneath your roles, your traumas, and your narratives, you unlock a dormant power to shift your state not just emotionally, but energetically. You stop reacting from your wounds and start responding from your wholeness. In the moments ahead, we will walk the terrain of that remembrance. We'll explore how to ignite light in your lowest hour, not from outside you, but from the deep reservoirs of power already living in your bones. We'll dive into the core principles that govern your vibrational state, decode the symbols that point to your divine mechanics, and uncover how your energy field can evolve even in the trenches of despair. Because here's the wild truth you've always suspected: you are not just here to survive, you are here to alchemize. You are not a victim of your mood, you are the architect of your resonance. And when you learn how to adjust that dial, even when your hands are shaking, you begin to command reality itself. So take a deep breath. Let go of any thought that says, "I can't." That's not your voice. That's static from the lower realms. Tune in now, tune deeply. The current is waiting. To understand how to raise your vibration fast, especially when your heart feels like it's crumbling beneath invisible weight, we must first journey beneath the language, into the mechanics of soul frequency itself. Not the surface ripples of emotion, but the deeper tectonic plates of your energy field, your consciousness, and your will. Raising your vibration is not a gimmick. It is not a party trick for the spiritually inclined. It is initiation, a form of ancient remembering encoded into the very fabric of your being. And when you're feeling low, that initiation becomes most potent because your ego is too tired to interfere. It is in that exhaustion, that aching vulnerability, that you finally have a clear view into the control room of your soul. And what you'll find there is this: your vibration is not dictated by your circumstance, but by your orientation. Let's use a metaphor. Picture your consciousness as a compass, spinning wildly in the magnetic field of life. The needle sways in response to events, loss, joy, confusion, anger, but at its core, the compass is not broken. It just needs a moment of stillness to point back to true north. That true north is your highest alignment, your soul's original frequency before the noise of the world. Raising your vibration is nothing more than returning to that internal calibration. And yes, it can happen instantly because it's not a creation, it's a remembrance. When you feel low, when you're drowning in mental fog or emotional collapse, you have not lost your high vibration. It is not gone. It is obscured like the sun behind clouds. Your job is not to manufacture joy, but to remove what blocks the light. The ancient mystics understood this well. Purification is not adding more, it is releasing illusion. And one of the most persistent illusions is this: that your external world must change before your inner world can rise. But vibration flips that formula on its head. When your vibration rises, your world shifts to match you. There is a sacred physics at work. You live in a vibrational universe where everything you think, speak, do, and even believe echoes outward like a tuning fork. Your thoughts are not private. They are frequencies broadcast through the hologram of your life. When you're feeling low, your energetic broadcast narrows, becomes foggy, distorted. You're tuned into a channel of fear, scarcity, doubt. And just like a radio, if you're locked onto that station, it's all you can hear. But the station isn't all that exists. It's just the one you're currently resonating with. To change the channel, you don't argue with the static. You simply turn the dial. But what is the dial? It is awareness, presence, willingness. The moment you become conscious of your vibration, rather than unconscious within it, you place your hands back on the wheel. Your mood may not instantly lift, your problems may not vanish, but your alignment begins to shift. And in this quantum universe, the smallest shifts create butterfly effects that ripple across dimensions. One of the greatest lies you've been taught is that healing takes time. No, healing takes decision. It takes a radical, courageous choice to believe something new, to see something higher, to feel something deeper. When you commit to raising your vibration, even while your body trembles and your mind screams resistance, the universe leans in. The field listens. Because you're not just changing your mood, you're commanding your frequency like a sovereign soul. And what is vibration if not the expression of your state of consciousness? Fear contracts your frequency. It makes you small, dense, separate. Love expands it, makes you porous to the divine. When you are in a low state, the world feels far, cold, alien. But that's only because you've shrunk into a version of yourself that forgot its origin. Raise your vibration, and suddenly everything around you shifts in tone and texture. The same street feels warmer. The same face looks gentler. It's not because the world has changed. It's because you've changed how you're resonating with it. At the heart of all vibrational work is a principle older than language. As within, so without. The ancients carved it into temple walls and whispered it through mystery schools because it was the master key to manifestation. When you raise your vibration, you're not climbing to heaven, you're activating heaven within you, projecting it outward like a film reel that colors the world. This is not metaphor. This is spiritual physics. And yet, it must be said again. Raising your vibration is not pretending to be happy. It is not bypassing grief. It is the art of spiritual aikido, turning your pain into power, your sorrow into sacred data. Even in your lowest moments, your soul is still radiating something holy. Your tears are not weaknesses, they are offerings. Emotional states are not barriers to high vibration, they are vehicles. You can transmute fear into fire, anger into clarity, loneliness into communion. So how do you raise your vibration fast, especially when you feel too low to even try? You begin by surrendering to the now, not the fantasy of who you think you should be, but the radical presence of who you are here and now, breathing and broken and still worthy. You place your awareness on something higher, not in denial of your pain, but in devotion to something greater than it. That could be a word, a breath, a memory, a prayer, a piece of music that reminds you of your infinite nature. The moment you do this, your frequency lifts, maybe only by a few hertz, maybe enough to break the spell. But that's the miracle. You don't need to leap, you just need to lean. Lean toward light, lean toward love, lean toward truth, and the energy around you begins to rearrange. Because vibration is contagious, it is a living frequency that not only lifts you, but pulls the world with it. One person radiating high truth can shift the vibration of an entire room, an entire family, even a timeline. That is the silent revolution occurring beneath the noise of this world. Souls learning to raise their vibration on command, not to escape the world, but to transform it from within. Once, in a realm not so different from your own, there lived a small, flickering flame at the center of a vast cavern. It burned weakly, barely visible in the darkness, its light swallowed by the enormity of the void around it. But that flame was eternal. It could never be extinguished, only forgotten. And every so often, a traveler would wander into that cavern, burdened, broken, lost. In their grief, they would collapse near the flame, not seeing it at first. Yet, as they wept, their tears would feed the fire. And little by little, the light would grow. Not because the flame rejected the darkness, but because it embraced the truth of it. The flame did not burn in spite of the pain. It burned through it. This flame is within you, and to raise your vibration, especially when you are feeling low, is to become that traveler, willing to sit in your own cavern of shadow and remember that the fire was always yours to feed. The symbolic terrain of raising your vibration is not one of perfection, but of transmutation. And symbols, more than steps or techniques, reveal the hidden truths behind your struggles. Let's speak then in parables. Let's leave behind the language of formulas and wander instead into the mythic. Imagine a great mountain. You are at its base, looking up. The sky above is radiant, the summit lost in clouds. You've been told that to feel joy again, to feel like yourself, you must climb. But you're weary. The path is steep. Every step feels like a betrayal of your exhaustion. So you collapse, knees in the dust, and cry out, "I cannot rise." And yet something stirs. The mountain hears you. The wind begins to whisper, not words but vibrations, frequencies older than language. It tells you that you are not meant to climb by force, but by alignment, that the mountain is not your enemy, but your mirror. When you rise internally, even before your body moves, the mountain responds. Rocks shift, the path becomes clearer, trees lean in. What once seemed insurmountable begins to bend toward you, simply because you remembered who you were. This is what it means to raise your vibration. It is not always about movement. Sometimes it is about stillness that resonates so deeply, the world moves around you. Now let me tell you of the blackbird who forgot it had wings. In the depths of winter, the blackbird had been grounded by storms so fierce that it believed flight was a dream it had invented. Snow clung to its feathers, its heart slowed. It envied the fox, the hare, even the tree, anything with roots, anything that didn't need to rise. But one morning the sky cracked open with gold, just for a moment. And in that sliver of light, something ancient returned to the bird's bones, not memory, but instinct. Not a command, but a calling. And without knowing why, the bird leapt. Not because it was ready, but because it was drawn. Its wings didn't need to be convinced, they just needed permission. Sometimes your vibration rises not because you fight the darkness, but because you finally stop resisting the light. You leap even when you feel too broken, and somehow life carries you. Let's take another path. There is a myth among desert tribes of a well that appears only to those who walk in silence. The thirsty wanderer cannot chase it. They must still their heart, walk with reverence, and trust that the land itself will answer their thirst. In that same way, your highest vibration is not summoned by desperation. It is revealed through surrender. The more you chase joy as an escape, the further it runs. But when you pause, when you honor even your sadness as sacred terrain, the oasis appears. These stories are not fantasy. They are maps of your own psyche. The mountain, the bird, the hidden well. These are not characters in a tale. They are fragments of you. Your mountain is the internal resistance to change. Your blackbird is your dormant power. Your hidden well is your soul's knowing that you are never truly empty. When you feel low, the world contracts. You feel small, alone, like the universe has turned away. But in truth, you have simply turned inward, into the realm where your myth lives. And myths are powerful not because they are literal, but because they are true on a deeper level. They teach you how energy works when words no longer suffice. This is why vibration rises through story, through song, through symbol, because these things bypass the intellect and speak directly to your soul. You cannot logic your way out of despair, but you can feel your way into remembrance. You can awaken the blackbird. You can drink from the well. You can burn like the eternal flame. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear the story your soul has been telling you all along. You came to this realm not to avoid suffering, but to learn how to transform it. You came not to escape darkness, but to illuminate it. You are not a victim of energy. You are its composer. Your vibration is your instrument, and the music you play determines the kind of world you inhabit. The low notes are not mistakes. They are depth. The high notes are not prizes. They are echoes of your origin. To raise your vibration is to become aware that your very being is symphonic, that even in sadness, you are still singing. So the next time you feel lost, low, hollow, remember this: the flame is there, inside the cave. The wings are there, under the frost. The well is waiting, beneath the silence. And when you choose, even with trembling hands, to step toward that inner symbol, you change everything. It is one thing to speak of vibration in symbols, mountains that bow, blackbirds that soar, flames that burn in secret caves. It is another to walk back into the kitchen of your life, into the bills, the heartbreaks, the half-written messages, and remember the truth you've touched. The most profound transformation does not occur in visions. It occurs when the sacred and the ordinary meet in quiet intimacy, when the cosmic finds a foothold in the grocery line, the traffic jam, the late-night panic. This is the terrain of integration, and it is here that vibration becomes not just a mystical ideal, but a living frequency that alters the texture of your reality. When you raise your vibration in the abstract, you glimpse the summit. When you apply it, even when you're low, you become the summit, a peak that others can feel simply by standing near. So how does one carry this flame through the corridors of the everyday? It begins, paradoxically, in stillness. Stillness is not the absence of motion, it is the alignment of intention. Whether you're washing dishes or navigating grief, when you become fully present, you create a sacred field around you. Consciousness amplifies frequency. That means every small act, when done with presence, becomes an amplifier of your vibration. A single deep breath taken in awareness becomes an energetic tuning fork, recalibrating your entire field. One kind word, spoken through the fog of your own sorrow, becomes a signal to the universe that you are choosing resonance over reaction, even and especially when you feel like doing none of it. Integration does not require that you feel good. It requires that you show up gently, again and again, with the willingness to remember. Imagine this. You wake up heavy. That familiar cloak of numbness wraps around your chest. The world feels muted. There is no miracle in sight. And yet, you place your feet on the floor with reverence. Not because you're in the mood, but because you know the floor is listening. You whisper, "I am willing." You brew your tea not in a rush, but as if performing a sacred ritual. You move slowly. You breathe deeply. You touch your heart once before speaking to anyone. These are not tricks. These are frequency signatures, physical gestures that echo into the energetic realm and begin to reshape your vibration in real time. You raise your vibration fast by making slow, conscious choices. The paradox is that slowness in action often brings swiftness in energetic shift. Another pathway of integration is the body itself. Your body is not a passive shell. It is a frequency modulator, an antenna tuned to the signal of your consciousness. Movement changes vibration, not just exercise, but intentional movement. Stretching with gratitude, walking barefoot on soil, placing your hand on your chest during moments of doubt. The body doesn't ask for perfection, it asks for attention. And when you give it, it responds not only with health, but with elevation. Even your words, those invisible threads you cast into the world, carry vibrational weight. When you say, "I can't," you shrink your field. When you say, "I'm trying," you stabilize. When you say, "I am," you activate. Language is not only expression, it is vibration codified into sound. Speak consciously, and your words become tuning tools. And when you're too exhausted for words, too drained for mantras or movements, your breath remains. The breath is your direct interface with the unseen. It is the bridge between matter and spirit. Just 5 conscious breaths, taken slowly, with the intention to anchor light into your body, can shift you from survival to awareness. It doesn't mean your problems vanish, but you rise above them, not in denial, but in dimension. You stop seeing your life from the ground floor of fear and begin observing it from the balcony of presence. And then there is environment. You don't need a Himalayan cave to raise your vibration, but you do need to curate your field. Every object, sound, and presence around you is part of your vibrational ecology. You're not being paranoid when certain rooms feel heavy. You're being perceptive. Trust that. Protect your energy like sacred fire. Light candles, clean corners, play music that remembers the language of your soul. Let your space become an altar, not for religion, but for resonance. Integration also means becoming a witness to your inner weather without becoming the storm. You may still feel sadness, anger, emptiness, but you no longer identify with them. You observe, you acknowledge, and you choose again. In that choice, the alchemy begins. The real-world implication of high vibration is not that you float through life untouched. It is that you become deeply engaged without becoming entangled. You walk through challenge as the eye of the storm, knowing that your state determines your fate. As you continue to raise your vibration, you will notice synchronicities increase. Conversations align. The right people arrive. Not because you are manipulating life, but because you are finally matching it. Life doesn't reward force. It responds to frequency. And when you vibrate at the level of love, of presence, of integrity, the entire hologram of your experience begins to restructure. This is how you influence reality, not by effort, but by essence. You become a living tuning fork, and others, without even understanding why, will feel safer near you, braver near you, lighter, just because you exist in a field that says, yes, even here, even now, we can rise. Raising your vibration, then, is not a luxury. It is a responsibility, not just for yourself, but for the collective. Because every time you lift yourself, even by a few invisible inches, you lift the grid for everyone. This is not theory. This is energetic fact. And now you know, even in your lowest moment, you are never powerless. You are never alone. The shift begins within, and the impact echoes without. There is a moment, quiet, golden, and often unnoticed, when the soul takes its first breath after the storm. A moment not of fireworks, but of clarity. The kind of clarity that doesn't need words, because it resounds in the bones. You've felt it before, haven't you? That stillness after sorrow, when you open your eyes and something in the air feels different. Lighter, though nothing has changed. Warmer, though the world remains the same. That's not coincidence. That's vibration. That's you, realigning with the truth beneath the pain. And that truth is this: your vibration is your power. Your frequency is your signature. And your soul, when remembered fully, is a tuning fork for the cosmos itself. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not late to your destiny. You are simply tuning. Moment by moment, breath by breath. And every low point you've ever endured was not a detour from your spiritual path. It was the path. The pain was the teacher. The sadness, the call, the resistance, a sacred doorway asking to be opened by your willingness to see differently. What you've done by walking with me through this journey is not just learn about energy, you've begun to master it, not in an abstract intellectual way, but in the deepest sense, through embodiment. You now know how to sit in the darkest room and find the switch. You know how to pause, breathe, speak, move, and choose your way into a different reality. And you know that even when you forget, even when you fall, the way back is never lost. It lives inside you. Because here's the great cosmic joke: your vibration never left you. It was always there, humming beneath the noise, beneath the fear, beneath the fog of forgetting. You are not raising it so much as you are reclaiming it. And this reclamation, this steady, sovereign, daily act of choosing higher, changes the world. You don't need to lead a movement. You don't need millions of followers. You only need to light your own flame. Because energy is contagious, and when you glow, others will remember how to glow. You become a lighthouse without trying, a healing frequency encoded into a human form. So the next time you feel low, do not curse the moment. Do not judge yourself. Instead, ask gently, what part of me is asking to be seen so that I may rise again? And then trust that even your question is an initiation. When the river of your emotions floods, when the weight of the world seems unbearable, when you are caught between the ache of the past and the fear of the future, pause, drop in, place your hand on your chest, and say, I remember, I know who I am, and watch the shift begin. This journey we've taken together, across symbols, concepts, integration, and remembrance, is not meant to stay within the walls of this text. It is meant to awaken something timeless in you, something practical and powerful, something that now demands expression. So here is your transformational call, whispered in the voice of the universe that made you. Rise. Rise even when you are tired. Rise even when you are doubtful. Rise even when no one sees you. Rise not for applause, not for perfection, not for validation, but because it is your birthright. Because you are the frequency the world has been waiting for. Because you are not here to escape the darkness. You are here to illuminate it. Let your life become the lighthouse. Let your choices become the signal. Let your presence become the proof that it is possible to feel low and still choose light. This is how we change the world, not through force, but through frequency. Not through control, but through coherence. The world needs coherent souls, embodied souls, souls who can cry in the morning and still speak truth at night, souls who don't wait to feel perfect to make an impact, souls who radiate even if their hands are trembling. That is you. That is now. So take this message, inhale it, make it real, and the next time someone asks you, how do I raise my vibration when I feel lost? You won't need to give a speech. You'll just stand there, grounded, glowing, alive, and they'll feel it. Because you've become the answer.